This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, how there, ho there, it's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe Birthday Boy. And the birthday boy for today, July the 13th, is a CFL kicker who I adore a lot. Of course, I'm a little bit biased because, he kicked for my favorite CFL team, the Montreal Alouettes. But he was a fantastic kicker for the Alouettes. From 1972 to 1984, he was the Alouettes kicker and then played 1 year with Hamilton. He was so sweet. Yes, that's his name, Don Sweet. So anyway, Don Sweet was born in Vancouver and went to Washington State to play football. And then the CFL beckoned and he decided to go home and kick for the Montreal Alouette. In the 70s, the Alouettes were just coming of age, proving that they were a very good team and a good franchise. Don Sweet first kicked for them in 1972 and went 21 for 30 on conversions, on extra point conversions, which is like, what? How can he be that bad at conversions? On field goals, he was 8 for 20. So that was a little bit concerning. And all that. But Don Sweet would recover by 1973, going 29 for 29 on extra points and 19 for 29 on field goals, 55%. It got to the point that Sweet was kicking field goals left, right, and center. He put up 38 field goals in 1976 and 35 in 1977. So he was just kicking away fantastically. And he was doing quite well for himself. So the Alouettes in the 1970s were like huge. And Don Sweet was the kicker that could do it and all that. So anyway, in 1976 he hit 21 straight field goals, which was a CFL record at the time. And he was an Eastern All-Star for 3 years and twice led the East in scoring. So anyway, Don Sweet took home the 1974 Grey Cup with the Alouettes. But in 1975, he had a chance to kick the Alouettes into another Grey Cup, winning back-to-back years. However, he missed wide right. He did score a point because in the CFL, if you miss a field goal, but the person cannot get out of the end, if you kick it out of the end zone, or if the guy in the end zone gets the ball but can't get into the field of play, that's a single point. He could also concede a single point. So Montreal ended up losing the 1975 Grey Cup 9-8. However, Don Sweet had a better Grey Cup in 1977. So the 1977 Grey Cup was huge for Don Sweet. It was huge for Alouette fans, too. It was actually Canada's version of the Ice Bowl, meaning that there was one problem. A blizzard hit Montreal 2 days before the game, and the stadium crews salted the field to melt the snow. But the temperature plunged, meaning that the melted snow turned into ice. But Don Sweet was huge and all that. So, Don Sweet looked good for Montreal. I mean, the guy actually kicked a field goal for Washington State to beat Stanford. But he had a 13-year career with Montreal. But the Grey Cup was when he had everything going. He won in 74 and 77, lost in 75, 78, and 79, putting up 61 Grey Cup points. But the 1977 Ice Bowl, for how much the weather was, people forget about Don Sweet's performance. Kicking 6 field goals, scoring 23 points combined. Well, of course, I think it was 6 field goals and I think 5 points otherwise. I think they were all extra points. But anyway, it was huge. He was named the most valuable Canadian. Well, in the 77 game, the 74, and the 79 games. So he could kick with the best of them and all that. So anyway, Don Sweet looked pretty good for the Alouettes. And he was their kicker and got them through some tough times in the 70s. But the problem was that the Alouettes franchise was crumbling, so the Alouettes were folded into the Concords, the Montreal Concords. And, you know, that Sweet kicked a few years for the Concords. They were 2-14 at one point. Sweet, for some strange reason, played for the Tiger Cats in 1985. Of course, he was a lifer with the Alouettes. So anyway, Sweet actually went into the BC school district, source as a teacher and principal. Unfortunately, though, a couple of years ago, he was charged with counts of sexual interference. 4 counts of interference, 2 counts of sexual assault, and a count of assault. Because 2 women had said that Sweet sexually assaulted them as 13 and 14-year-olds way back in 2008. Of course, nothing has been proven in court, and we don't know what happened to Sweet, but it was just horrible how he would do such a thing like that. But still, he's got 2 Grey Cup titles to his name, and he will always be so sweet because of his kicking and all that. But maybe not it. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond.